Crimson Guitars, welcome to Experimental Luthiery 101. Okay, my studio, this is where we build the custom shop and the master build instruments. And we also look at the production guitars. Every single thing comes through here for quality control checks before they go out to the shops or to you fine people who buy guitars and stuff. But when the room is empty, when other people are in meetings or otherwise engaged, I tend to play around a little bit. And recently that's been with copper, acid, and fire. And today's going to be some fire. Now, you've seen the first video that I did 6 months or so ago, playing around with the Shou Sugi Ban method. And that is where it's a Japanese technique for burning wood and then oiling it, and it gets a very, very hard-wearing finish. It's similar to torrefying wood, but only out to the outer layer. It's an awesome finish, and nice and quick as well, but very, very long-lasting. And it basically helps preserve the wood a lot more than just raw wood. Now, I've done this on a couple of bodies. This was the first one that you saw in that video, and this guitar is actually going together in the next couple of days. Also, look out for the inlay tutorial video coming soon. But I've also been playing with necks, and in this case, this is I suppose we'll call it half burnt or part burnt or something like that. Lightly blowtorched. There we go. And I was obviously going for a sort of a bursting effect around there as well. The other baby, we went for a darker finish. And it really does look like torrefied wood. Because basically that's what it is. The torrefaction process is you put wood in an oven at a high temperature for a relatively short period of time. Actually, it's not like kiln drying, but in a vacuum. And obviously I'm not burning this in a vacuum. Now, I thought, what the hell, let us quite rapidly show you the process just for fun. Now, several things. This neck was destroyed by an apprentice, and they inlaid this as a repair, and but it is essentially a throwaway neck. If it survives this process, excellent. I will use it on a guitar and it'll be cool. However, if it doesn't, I'm not too worried. The one thing I would say is, if you are going to do this, do it obviously after the neck is carved and the fretboard radiused, etc. However, before the frets go in, because if the wood does twist through the burning and the heat process, then you need to be able to adjust the fretboard to recover from that. And if it twists massively, you're scuppered. So this is inherently dangerous. Don't do this at home, kids. Now, one of the other questions before we even get started is, why not use a heat gun? This is flame. It is immediately hot. A heat gun, after 5 or 10 minutes, that's a total lie. I tried to use a heat gun, and I was focusing on that point. Excuse me. I was focusing on that point for a good minute. Typical. Screwing up my own videos. I mean, I've just been sanding a neck, so there we go. So, using a heat gun, I focused on this point for a good 30 seconds to a minute, just to get that effect, and of course the fretboard popped off. Using flame, you can get the same level of heat much more rapidly and move on, because we do not want to delaminate the fretboard at all. You could of course glue it on with glue that is less likely to delaminate. Explosive delamination, that's one of my favorite terms. Now there's a YouTube channel. Now, I would also say that please make sure as much as you can that the wood is as dry as humanly possible before you play around with this. It has to be properly dried timber. Now, well, let's play. So, blowtorch, this is just a standard propane. I like propane butane more because I have an opinion on everything. This neck has been fine sanded, and I'm going to do this as fairly rapidly. So there is, this is surprisingly similar to using a can of spray paint. Can you see I'm concentrating? Can you hear I'm concentrating? And just that edge there. Now, I don't want to do any more down there for now, because we are running a risk of delaminating the fretboard. So keep it even. Now, you really do have to have the whole neck perfectly sanded, because if you don't, you're not going to get a good finish. It's exactly the same as any other finishing technique you could dream of. Now, this is warm to the touch, but not massively hot. And my glue line has not, although you can actually see it, it's not delaminated. It is not any weaker than it was before. Whereas with the blowtorch, well, yeah, that didn't work too well. We have a headstock to do. Cool. Almost. So, this is still warm. Now, the dread of every luthier everywhere, and the reason for apprentices, it's time to sand it. Shou Sugi Ban actually uses wire brush, which I haven't even tried with the necks because I wanted a smoother finish. But this is a wire brush for suede shoes, so it's actually fairly fine anyway. Nice. Smooth. Comfortable. And not twisted at all. Although we have two high frets from the apprentice who did this, the former apprentice actually. He did the fret job. But anyway. Okay. The end is now. Crimson Guitars, finishing oil. Of awesomeness. And oiliness. And flammability. And the camera person's trying to stop and I keep on adding words. It's excellent. Adding the finish onto an instrument is one of my favourite parts of the job. At least watching the wood or the stain or the flamed Shou Sugi Ban is probably the best word, although we're doing it slightly wrong and differently. But still, watching it come together is just the wood comes to life. And I love it. So this is the first coat of oil, soaking in quite nicely. And eventually we will apply 2 or 3 coats over the next 3 or 4 days and then some wax. But the end result is supremely comfortable, smooth, and the oil on its own isn't massively hard wearing. If you want something that's going to take dents and cracks then you have to go for a lacquer or something like that. An oil finish allows a guitar to sound much more resonant and look a lot more natural. And in this case, on a neck, it feels so much more playable for most people. Some people like, or love actually, a lacquer finish. But yes, not my style. Anyhow, well, as you can see, what we have here is a very dark effect. I can quite happily go back and sand it a little bit more, spend another 5 minutes with 240 grit and then 400 grit to get the perfectly smooth finish that I want, and have a much lighter sort of toffee look. I really like that. But what are you going to do? Remember what I said at the beginning. Fire is dangerous, people. Please don't hurt yourself. And don't hurt your guitar. If the wood is not perfectly dried, it will not work. If the frets are in, you run the risk of making the neck twist if the wood isn't perfectly dry. And all the wood just decides it wants to mess you around, really. So always leave the frets out. I didn't in this case because this was just a random neck I had floating around. It's not guaranteed success, although so far I've done it 3 times, and apart from the prototype where I was trying to see where it would fail, I've had total success, so it seems all right. Be quick, don't let it heat up too much, and most importantly, have fun. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and click like and subscribe. Check out all 600 or more of our other videos. If you have several years of your life you fancy spending just watching us on YouTube. If not, please, on me, feel free to cherry pick, because, you know, I'll give you permission. Crikey, can you imagine actually having to watch 600 odd videos of my ugly mug? Bloody hell. Anyway, there we have it. Thank you for watching and all that jazz. We will be back with more very soon. Cheers. Goodbye. Fire.